Hello, Suzanne. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Stephanie. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. I am so happy to have you here for everybody in the Be the Boss, Be Well uh, community. We are all about midlife health, and women 40 plus, especially, um, working toward, wrangling that metabolic health, keeping that expanding waistline from happening or to get it back down to where we'd like it to be. But mostly it's not so much about weight as it is about energy and health and vibrancy and vitality and just really making that second half of our lives something really wonderful. And, you know, a lot of people we all grew up with eat less, move more, but I really love eat well, move better. And that's what I love so much about having you here today. Um, for those of you who are meeting Suzanne here for the first time, she is an amazing yoga instructor, and you're going to get to hear a little bit about her story and what she has for you today, which I am super excited about. My favorite kind of yoga personally is vinyasa flow yoga. So I love that you have this new challenge that you're going to be doing for free at the end of this month called the Feel Good Flow Yoga Kickstart Challenge. And I just think that this is a beautiful, wonderful place to start if you want to start getting joyful movement into your life as a support to a healthy lifestyle. It's the thing that can help catalyze and magnify all of your other efforts to create a truly well-balanced, healthy lifestyle. So um, I'm glad you're here. You're a Vinyasa yoga teacher, and which is a flowing style of yoga, which I'm sure you're going to describe for everybody. But it links breath with movement, and anybody who has been in any of my workshops know how big I am on proper breathing and connecting breathing. Remember, your breathing gets oxygen to your muscles, and so when you're connecting movement and breath, you can get some amazing results there. So Suzanne, you work specifically, like I do, with women over 40, and your practice is very convenient to everybody everywhere because it's just like this. It's via Zoom, it's online. Um, so I'd love to know a little bit more about your story. What made you start, with yoga in the first place? A lot of times I know for me, I'm doing what I'm doing because of my own personal story. So I'd love for you to share yours.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me and such a beautiful presentation. So I've been practicing yoga for about 8 years now, and I found yoga because of chronic pain. Some of your viewers may be able to really relate to this. I sat at a desk my whole career. I know some women stand up all day as well. I was just telling my hairdresser the other day, I'm so glad you have that chair that you can scoot around and cut my hair because, oh, so hard on your legs and your feet to stand all day. And you may all of a sudden come into your 50s, especially menopause. Our bodies change so much, and you may be dealing with some type of a chronic pain from sitting too much. And so I sought out a one on one instructor to help me with that. I'd been doing everything my doctor said. I was at an 8-9 pain level. I needed a cane. I was thinking of buying a walker. And she said, well, everything that your doctor is telling you to do is great, but the anti-inflammatory pills, the steroid shots, I think I have something better for you. And what you really need are hip openers. And she gave me an amazing routine that over the first year, I brought my pain level down to a 6. And at that point, I decided this is the route that I want to take for natural health and wellness, and I'm going to become a yoga teacher. So over the next couple of years, I brought my pain down to about a 3 or a 2. And right now it's at a 1, 2. Sometimes I can get it to a 0. If I sit too much, sometimes it might go up to a 3. But and I don't want to put out there that yoga can cure your chronic pain. It's an option, and it may be something that can help you. And it's helped a lot of women that I've worked with.
Yeah. So, do you have any insight as to the specific mechanisms that are happening in yoga that can help deal with the pain. I'm thinking in terms of, I know that moving your joints can help get oxygen and fluid into a joint. There's no circulatory system in our joints, so that kind of movement can be very helpful. But I also know that during perimenopause and menopause, when our hormones are lower, it can have an effect on our connective tissue, our tendons, and those types of things. And then we just have a lifetime of being in a certain position for so many years, sitting down or moving or standing or whatever. And disordered movement can over time create this pain. So um, in my mind, and I'd love just to hear your thought on it, adding something, especially vinyasa flow yoga, which allows you to, for me, build some strength, build some flexibility, um, that movement, blood flow to my brain, um,
Yes.
right? All of those things can actually help all of, uh, you know, the connective tissue and the joints and all of that. So what would you have to say to that? Because that's me taking it from sort of my geeky, nerdy perspective, but I'd love to hear what you actually learned.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I 100% agree with everything you said. And yoga is a beautiful practice to bring, um, loosen up your joints and to bring that synovial fluid and that lubrication into your ligaments and your joints. It's like our natural WD-40. So when we don't move, that's where we start getting stiffness. And I also like to think of we have been crunchified from when we first started learning how to walk. Gravity is pulling us down. And so, from even when we were young children, you might fall on your hip, for example, and now favor that side of your hip. And so maybe you're walking just a little bit off and your spine starts to change. And we can do specific yoga poses that extend the spine and realign the spine with the hips, and it can feel amazing. If done correctly, it can really help with low back pain and sciatic nerve, as well as, if you get knots in your shoulder. So, realigning the musculoskeletal system that's available to you based on what you're dealing with in your body. I always like to kind of think of that musculoskeletal system as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And for those who, I guess just tell me a little bit about your Feel Good Flow Yoga Kickstart Challenge. And I was going to ask because I know you do chair yoga and those types of things, especially if somebody has got severe sciatica or like I think you were at first, your pain in your hips was so bad that couldn't necessarily do traditional yoga. Does this Feel Good Flow incorporate some of that, or is it more of a traditional vinyasa? Tell us a little bit about what that is and who's it for.
Yes, so I designed this challenge because I used to procrastinate to exercise, and I've come up with some amazing habit techniques as well as going through an accountability certification program. So I have a lot to share to help women in that respect. But I also work kind of specifically with three type of women. So the first one would be I don't really like to exercise and it's hard for me to show up. The second woman would be I enjoy exercise, but it's hard for me to find the time, or they have roadblocks. Or the third woman is I enjoy exercise and I want to up my game. How do I make that happen? So I teach I teach primarily basic and intermediate yoga. We don't get down on the floor and do plank. We don't do hard yoga poses. But I start with beginner classes with chair yoga for women who haven't moved in quite some time, women that just need to start loosening up. If you are recovering from something and your doctor's giving you the okay to stretch, that's a great place to start. And then from there, we stand up and we do yoga. I like to use the chair for assistance for a lot of my poses. So if you're a woman that needs to work on your balance, I have some great poses for that. And I also actually teach basic weight training. We use dumbbells, light weights, 3 and 5 pounds, to build muscle and bone strength, as well as I have a certification in chair Pilates, which Pilates is about core strength. And it's really important to have a strong core. It helps you get in and step in and out of the tub, in and out of the car. It helps you with balance and
Avoid falling.
yes, avoiding falling. And then, of course, with my own struggles, I have an amazing routine on the mat for stiffness in the hips. And then as we go into VIP, this is where I get more advanced, and I'm going to be giving my top 5 yoga poses in VIP that's helps to realign the musculoskeletal system in a deeper way. So those poses we're going to be doing one-on-one or in a group session on Zoom. I say one-on-one where I can see you. So I don't teach those in a free challenge where I can't see you. So if you want to come into the VIP, I have some amazing poses that you aren't going to find on YouTube. You aren't going to find on the internet. I've had special training to um, work with women that have low back pain and hip pain and that type of thing. And it
I
may
think
help, may help. I can't promise that
I
it's going to
know,
help.
right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
because we never
Mm-hmm.
know. There could be something underlying it, or somebody's been in a car accident and everything's just fused together. There's certain things that we can't work with as much, but
Right.
um, so. I love that. I love that there is the VIP option for that face to face because that was one of the questions that I had for you was for people who might be curious. Well, you just said I had to make sure I did these poses correctly. And if I'm in, what if I decide to work with you? How am I going to know that I'm doing the poses correctly? You get to see them, and you are actually taking a look to um, v- um, verbally guide them through adjustments and say, you got this. And I love that we have this technology now to let us to do that. There are so many people who are having such an amazing impact and reach because of this, even though if they can't be in an in-person studio. So that's wonderful. What is the biggest mistake that you see women make when they're looking to incorporate yoga or movement into their life? You said that you did a lot of habit work and accountability certification, and that's exactly how I approach health and wellness and nutrition. Is really those small movements and that habit stacking. And so I know you and I have gotten a chance to talk about this in the past. I love that you've incorporated this exact approach into movement. I think that is so critical. So tell me a little bit about um, the biggest mistake you see women make.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as the old proverbial goes, you can't eat an elephant in one bite. And just like you said, small steps. So I do work one on one with clients, and I'll give you an example of a new client that I just started working with. I told that person, I recommend that you buy the book Atomic Habits, and we're going to read that together. We're going to go over that. And we came up with a very simple 3-minute plan. So to make a habit is like brushing your teeth. I used to not walk my dog in the morning. I wanted to get outside and feel nature and fresh air, and it was my goal to walk my dog every day. So I made it a habit to, as soon as I got out of bed, brush my teeth, put my walking clothes on, put my walking shoes on, grab my phone, and boom, I'm out the door with my dog. So this new person that I started working with, it's like you have a 3-minute habit that you are going to commit to. And we decided Monday, Wednesday, Friday was great. And all they need to do is just show up for class. So that's the hardest part of starting is showing up.
Mm.
And I said, how's it going to be in a year from now when you have the habit of showing up? So that's a really great first start. And so many people, when they start out, we have big goals. We see that beautiful body, that beach tin body that we want, or the person that's been able to turn the clock back 30 years and have tons of energy and health and wellness. And maybe we're a ways away from that. So focus in on how you feel, do what feels good for your body, and start small, but make it a routine and a habit in your life.
Yeah, it's consistency beats perfection every single time, every
Mm,
single time. And building that in, and our brains are energy efficient. They don't want to spend a lot of time um, on the non-auto. They want to automate, right? And so when but building any routine, as you said, it's going to require these small steps because it's a lot easier for the brain to do that. By trying to leap the building in a single bound, right? We're not Superman, but that is something that is just too big for our body and our brain to wrap around, and it's easy to burn out from something like that. It's just too big and it's not sustainable, right? So yeah, absolutely any habit and is requires that small baby step. And I love that you even start with just showing up because you're absolutely right. When it comes to movement, I have to say I agree with that 100%. So as we wrap up here, I'd just like to know a little bit more. We're inviting you all to this Yoga Kickstart challenge. And it's just 5 days. It's free. You're going to get an experience of what this is like. And the very first thing is, hey, just show up, right? So, what very quickly, what do those 5 days break down into for those who are going to be participating with you?
It does run from January 26th to the 30th. It's going to be at 5 Central, 6 Eastern in the evening. And then if you do VIP, that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right after. Day one is how to build your yoga routine. We're going to go through the steps to do that. And then we're going to do a chair yoga class. So it's about a 20-minute slide presentation, and then we're going to exercise. And then day two, we're going to go into mindset, self-talk. What are your roadblocks? We're going to be talking about that. And then we're going to go into a chair Pilates class. Day three is how to design your movement routine as far as yoga, weightlifting, aerobics, walking, that type of thing. We're going to be doing an on the mat hip stretch. And the VIP is also going to be getting 5 bonuses every day that go above and beyond the homework. So the free challenge is share your big takeaway in the group. I'd love to hear from you because on day 5, we're going to do a celebration, Q&A. What were your takeaways? What were your struggles? How can I help you? What questions do you have? And in the VIP, you're going to be getting follow-up worksheets to do along with all of that so that you can dive deeper into, what are the thought loops and the habits and your struggles and how can you overcome them and how can you really build a routine that you would love to stick with in 2026 and beyond. So that's really the challenge, I think, in a nutshell.
Awesome. And it doesn't have to be some crazy 2.5 hour daily routine, right? That doesn't make any sense. And whether it's 3 or 5 minutes or however it looks for them, I know you, and you're going to help them figure out where they are now and meet them where they are at now. And I think that's beautiful. So, a lot of people, I think my last question for you is a lot of people worry about their limitations. Maybe they're not flexible or they have joint issues. So you just described that you're going to have some learning time. You're going to have some mat exercises. If somebody can't get down on some of those, are there other ways they can still participate? I just don't want them to write themselves off from this free challenge. And I trust that you do have modifications for everybody. So what would
Mm.
you say to reassure the women who are listening that this absolutely is something that they can do, and it's just 5 days?
Right. Well, absolutely. So day one and two are seated exercises. And I tell everyone that this is available for everyone unless your doctor's told you that you can't exercise for some reason. So if you're recovering from
Right.
surgery or you have something going on physically that prohibits you from that. But I do give modifications, and I always start my classes out with, I'm going to take you to the full extent of the pose within my ability. I have looked up in class and seen women getting deeper into stretches than I'm able to. as well as women who feel frustrated that have a hard time keeping up with me. So I always tell the women in my classes, do what feels good, watch my pose for inspiration, come into the pose that feels good to you, and I'll give you modifications if you have, challenges with your knees or you've had a knee replacement or that type of thing. So
Yeah.
on the on the mat hip class, if you can't get on the floor, I'm going to do a short, little 5-10 minute hip opener standing class. And then at that point, you just may watch potentially. But being on the floor, you would need to be able to get up and down off the floor to do that. It's a little bit more of an advanced class. But we'll still be doing the hip openers. I'll still be showing you some options. And it is available for everyone unless your doctor's told you that you can't exercise. So
Absolutely. That is always, always the case. So thank you for bringing that up. I want to thank you for taking this short time with me today because I think this is beautiful. I think the timing is perfect. I certainly know there are definitely people that I think that would be interested. And the reason why I'm doing this is I think everybody watching this would be interested. So the Feel Good Flow Yoga Kickstart Challenge is going to be kicking off January 26th through the 30th. And I have a link for you that you guys can sign up. Um, and it's going to be posted along with this video wherever you're seeing it. So I want you to be ready. I want you to grab your spot. I want you to have a wonderful time. And Suzanne, thank you again for sharing your wisdom with us today.
thank you so much for having me. I hope to see you guys in the challenge, and thanks again.
Yes. Take care, everybody.